Welcome to On the Chain. This is Chip and my co-host Jeff, and we got a very special guest today. We have a David Gokhshtein. He's member and contributing writer for Forbes Finance Council, founder of Gokhshtein Media, which we'll get into a little bit, and he's also the chief marketing officer of Coin. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and it's getting ready to start right now.
And now, the roundtable with Jeff and Chip on the chain.
Hey everybody, welcome to On the Chain. Jeff, we've got a very special guest this week. We are honored to have David Gokhshtein here. David, how are you?
I'm good. I'm honored. I'm honored to be on with you guys. Thank you very much for, bringing me on.
It's really awesome to have you here. We're looking forward to it. So we're just talking right before we started this out, and you were talking a little bit about the Gokhshtein Media and exactly some of your plans, where you're going with that. I think it would be a nice opening, just to dive right in and just give us a brief summary, of what that's all about, and then we're going to deep dive.
So Gokhshtein Media, we started out as a magazine with plans to go ahead and move into the audio space. So essentially we are now developing G Media Network, which will host 24/7 media content on this space, meaning blockchain and digital assets. And just to educate, the regular guy, like to put it in layman's terms, that's what we're trying to do. We want people to understand this space, and we're seeking to go and get out of the crypto Twitter space, step out of it, and educate people that want to come into the space but just don't know how to. So, G Media will provide, and it's free, we'll provide free content, blockchain 101 for those that are interested. That's really it. There's a lot of people in this space that are, looking for that education, and we're going to try to provide that.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people in this space that actually need that education.
100%.
Right. So, So that's interesting. As you look at the media content, where you've come from, going through your website, which is gokhshtein.com, looking a little bit into the articles, and now you're talking about podcasts. What does that look like? From an education perspective, are you tapping? You're going to tap different media types. It sounds like, right? Video, podcast, written,
podcasts, videos. Obviously articles daily. We'll have, just like you have with Coin Telegraph, we'll be coming out with articles. But again, we just want to keep it in layman's terms. That my biggest thing is that, I think we get too technical, and a lot of people are just starting out with trying to learn. But when you get so technical with C++ and Oracle, like a lot of people, they've heard of it, but they just don't know it. And we keep it very simple, and hopefully, just keeping it simple, people will embrace it, they'll understand it, and then they'll, themselves take it to the next level.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, the education, I think, is important. And it's funny because when you say overcomplicate, sometimes people get so into it that they lose everybody else. They're like, because if you're watching something and you feel like, I feel like I'm kind of dumb, and you kind of just, you back off of it. But I think it's a good approach to be able to simplify stuff, because that DeFi space, I find it very interesting. But they get so down the rabbit hole on some of this stuff. They get into it. Well, we decentralize this and that, and nodes and this. And for the average person, they just want to know, hey, is this project solving a problem? How does it help me? How does it make the world a better place? Does it make the world a better place? Or is it searching for a problem somewhere in some nook and cranny,
Correct. And it's like you just mentioned DeFi, right? So that's the new ICO. That for me, that's like the new ICO, of 2017, and people are jumping into it, but people are jumping in due to price, and they have no clue in terms of the product, what it actually does. Like, you ask somebody, why did you go into Compound? They have no clue, except Crypto Gumby told me that, it sounds good. all right, and I see the price is going up, so I'm going to jump into it. It's kind of like the same way. Then the analogy would be, okay, let me just do the test without studying it. I mean, it makes no sense. We need more people to do some fundamental analysis and to dumb it down a bit so people understand what DeFi is about. And then that person can make, a responsible decision and not an irresponsible decision, and then blame crypto Twitter, crypto Gumby, Pony, and whoever, for his bag holdings or his losses. So again, that's where, not to be repetitive, but that's where, we scale in. We at G Media want to just simplify everything for everybody.
Yeah, and we brought up a point here, which is helping people identify solutions that are actually solving problems. And it's funny because it seems to be a repetitive theme, and I think we're going to hear this more and more, that you have actual projects with real utility that are solving real problems that blockchain can address. And then you have projects that are being developed that are solutions, but they're looking for a problem, and they're you're trying to fit blockchain into every single space. And that doesn't really make sense, but that's where you get a lot of confusion from different projects like what you're bringing up. I mean, have you seen anything like that where, you see, here's a project. Okay, great. It's blockchain. All right. Invest in it. But where's the utility? What sense does the project make?
I mean, that's a lot of projects. I mean, you have a lot of projects that come in here, and to me, it's mostly for a cash grab. While there are, real projects with, that literally are explaining their use case to you that some won't even look at because of the price. I think a big problem in our space is price. Because if the price isn't there, people feel like, oh, this is not, essentially this is not a really good product. I shouldn't even look into this project. I'm going for where the price is and where the pretty, roadmap and white paper is. Somebody makes a phenomenal PDF. It looks like a Lamborghini, and the website's phenomenal. Okay, I'm getting into this. Whereas, a real use case might only have 2,000, 3,000 followers in terms of, let's say, in their Telegram, and their roadmap is good, but it's just not printed out. So, like eye candy, to where like people say, I'll hold off on that. But then, once it goes up, they jump into it again. And I'm going to lead in again back into price. People, it seems like as soon as the price takes off, they'll jump into it. Just like Bitcoin, when it hit $3,800, nobody wanted it. Everybody thought, oh, that's it. And the Bitcoin, now it's at 9,000, right? People are jumping into it. It's always that effect. It's with price. But the people that are most successful and will be the most successful in this space, the ones that do, when I go back to it, the fundamental analysis on the project, and not just look at TA or listen to somebody on crypto Twitter or whatever social media platform it is, yap about it.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I
ahead.
might have to steal crypto Gumby. That's awesome because, there's so many of these yahoos out there, and what's weird is like they predict that by tomorrow, by next week, by whatever, by 2020, what 2020 came and went. And it's like, and they're still doing it, and they're still building an audience. And it's just like it's kind of goes back to what you said, is that people are looking for that big thing. And I wanted to kind of like transition a little bit to XRP here because I want to read a couple, if you don't mind, if you read a couple of the tweets you put out recently. So you had this one where you said, I like XRP and I don't care what you think. I'm wasting my money and all that other stuff y'all be talking. It's my money. I've done my research. I'm going to win this race 100%. So you got a little bit of feedback.
I know, like, people don't understand Ripple. Like, if I ask somebody, what is XRP? They're going to tell me it's a shitcoin. I'm going to ask them, okay, explain to me why it is a shitcoin. I have no answer. It's just a shitcoin. Why? Gumby345 told me it was. Okay, let me go see what Gumby. It's just
or Tone Log, one of the few.
Whatever it is, right? So like, everybody.
Tone Vase, sorry.
But like
Tone Log.
I said Tone Vase. I meant Tone Log's a rapper. Sorry, it happens. By the way, Tone Log's okay too.
At the end of the day, right? Does anybody know the products that Ripple has? like, can we speak about Ripple itself and the products that it has? They have real use cases. They have real partnerships. Bank of America, MoneyGram, Santander, which is Santander. For those who don't know, Santander is as big in Europe as Chase is here. So why wouldn't I go ahead and get into, XRP? Now, if people are going to say, well, you should get into Ripple if they go ahead and launch an IPO. That's a different story. I'm talking about XRP, its use case. It has a real use case. They're trying to go ahead and replace Swift technology, with the banks and have people use Ripple. I mean XRP. So why wouldn't I be in it? That's me.
But it's a banker's coin, David. Don't you know that? It's a banker's coin. That's the
no,
other one you
if
get.
somebody's going to start telling me about this coin, it's a banker's coin, it's centralized. Stop it. You all came here for gains. You did not come here for the technology. You came here to make a profit. So you would be ridiculous to not go ahead and look, not financial advice, but you would be ridiculous to tell me that I'm not going to go into this and potentially make profit because it's a banker's coin. Your analogy, you leave me speechless.
That's it. And banks are going to be around. Banks have been around a long time. Banks are going to be around a long time.
No.
And it's just a matter of
I think.
yeah, I don't
That's
know.
not gonna work out,
I'm
Jeff.
going out on a limb here. I know it's a little crazy. It's crazy talk.
Just like the banks are going to disappear, and obviously the United States is going to just say, you know what, Bitcoin is the global crypto, global currency now, the world's currency. We're all going. Canada, every major government is just going to bow down and say, Bitcoin is taking over.
Bitcoin.
Look, we have to be realistic. I think we have too many cheerleaders in the space with their own agendas. Listen, at the end of the day, governments are going to find a way to adapt. The United States will come out with a digital currency of their own. Banks are adapting, just like using Ripple, for example. They're going to use Ripple because it's fast and the volatility is not there. So like, literally, it gets sent off in a second, 2 seconds at most, right?
Yeah, it's
They're
fast.
not going to lose money on it. It's fast.
It's
mean,
fast
banks like
settlement.
making money.
It makes sense.
At the end of the day,
Everybody-
everybody wants to make money, so they're going to do. And the smart ones will adapt. Those who don't adapt will be bought out or they'll close. It's really simple.
Yeah, and that happens all the time, and we're going to see that in this space. You start seeing brand new technologies that end up absorbing old technologies, or old technologies, will absorb the new technologies because they need it. I mean, look at the cycles, even, within the tech space, where you have Microsoft and Apple, and Microsoft, I think, is a perfect example as a giant in the space that decided not to get into mobile. And look how irrelevant they became because they tried and they tried and they tried. And not only did they lose traction in the mobile space, but they lost traction in the PC home market as well.
Correct.
As you saw Google Chrome blasted in, you saw Apple, came to the forefront even stronger. And I think that's a perfect example of a legacy, business, where they ignored the modern day, but within the banking space and the financial space. And when you have a Coinbase and an Uphold and a Gemini, and the amount of traction that they're getting in this space, you're going to see some small banks that they're going to be after, especially going through what we're going through right now, where they're going to put for sale signs, and all the big banks are going to be looking. But I guarantee some of these crypto houses, exchanges are also going to be looking and say, all right, who can we buy? Let's get some banking license.
Well,
it's going to be interesting.
I could totally see that also happening. And look, Microsoft went wrong, just like Warren Buffett, went wrong. Where Warren Buffett didn't want to go ahead and get into Microsoft. He threw out the whole internet thing as whatever. Amazon, who cares? And he.
Yeah, but those are little companies. They never develop it.
You know what it is about Warren Buffett? Yes, I can't say anything. He's had massive success, but he is not. He's not into tech. How can you listen? And we in the crypto space, we wait for him to go ahead and give us like the approval, the stamp of approval. Yes, guys, Bitcoin is the real deal. Like, no, like this is not the person that you're supposed to look to go ahead and give us a stamp of. Nobody needs to. This space is going to evolve, and people that don't get into it and adapt will get left behind. He's going to get left behind. His own people are telling him to invest into or to look into, into the digital asset space. Look at PayPal. PayPal went ahead and said that, we're just a Ponzi scheme. The CEO of PayPal said it. What happened? They're jumping in. So 2 years ago, we're a Ponzi scheme. Now, oh my God, there's money to be made. Let's go ahead and let people buy and sell their cryptocurrencies. People don't understand.
In on that Ponzi scheme.
Who wasn't? 325 million users. 325. If just 2% come into this space, oh my God. Oh my God, it's just ridiculous.
It's huge. On this point, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's interesting. We did, an interview with Alex Mashinsky, and we actually did two segments. And one of the things that he had mentioned to us was, the giants of yesterday aren't necessarily going to be the giants of tomorrow that are going to pick up the pieces. We're going to see a lot of new people, that are going to come in and take a dominant position in the financial space.
Correct.
And this is where we have an opening right now but the legacy guys, they're never going to admit that, so it's an interesting struggle that we're going to go through, and try to identify that. And Warren Buffett is a perfect legacy guy. He fits in that legacy space.
I personally, I'm not really into Warren Buffett. I congratulate him on all his successful, businesses, but he's not here. So I'm not waiting for his approval. Thank God, it was nice that Justin went ahead and donated $1.5 million to charity to go ahead and sit down with Warren Buffett, but you're not going to change somebody's mind. He's already set in his ways. He's 90 years old. Who are we trying to go after? Exactly. We're going after the wrong people. We need to focus on, IBM. I just interviewed them this morning. IBM,
wow, nice.
They're into it. They understand it. They actually have blockchains that are working for, institutional companies. That's what we need, not to go ahead and change somebody's mind. And we didn't waste he didn't waste $4.5 million. It went towards, to the homeless, which I'm all about charity. So that's great. But at the end of the day, you spend $1.5 million trying to convince somebody, but it did bring a lot of attention to the space. So granted, pros and cons to everything.
It did, but we look at Bitcoin right now, right? It's a little over 9,000, it hit close to 10,000, and people are going to do the same thing. So 2 years from now, when it's 30, 40,000, or it goes up to 100,000, people are like, I could have got in at 9. I could have got in at 3,500. They're going to be like kicking themselves, like or throat punching themselves, right? But this is how it always works out. And it's funny because you'd put another tweet out that I wanted to jump into because you said. You put the $W.
This is like mean tweets right now. Well, it's not mean.
No, it's just great, man. I love these tweets. He's like, Western Union should just give up and use XRP. So, right, it would make so much easier. But, if you're a legacy company and you're losing market share, because Western Union, MoneyGram, all these guys, they're still the old guard, right? The new fintechs that are coming out here and, they're eating up market share. It's kind of like you're just sitting there waiting for it to happen. Yeah. And at least MoneyGram kind of jumped on there. But if you want to buy MoneyGram, you can pony up about $980 million just to cover the debt, and then you can talk about purchasing the company.
How great was it though? Like if you heard the rumors, right?
Oh yeah.
About MoneyGram and Ripple coming together, right? Yep. Your first thought should have been.
You mean Western Union?
No, but I'm gonna go back to MoneyGram, and then I'm gonna touch on.
Oh, gotcha. No.
So when MGI, which is the symbol for MoneyGram, went ahead and said they're going to do, they're going to partner up with XRP, or I should say Ripple, excuse me. I went ahead and jumped into MGI and into XRP. Think. It's not charts, it's fundamentals. Okay?
Fundamentals are good.
So now you have rumors, and then you know what? It went up even more. So then you had the Western Union thing. Western Union was going to merge with, MoneyGram. MGI, there it goes right, exactly. So listen, at this, I really do believe it wasn't a hoax. XRP went up to almost $4 and change. I forgot exactly. Don't hold me to it. It was 4 and change, right? In 2017,
380 something.
if you're gonna tell me that's not gonna happen again with the amount of people that are gonna come into the space in around 2021, because that's when I think we're gonna have that little kick and Bitcoin's gonna break that all-time high, because it's all psychological. As soon as people see that 13 to 14,000 and slowly going up, people will jump right back in. Not only the 2017ers, but the new retail buyers going to jump in. Not saying that retail moves the market, but retail has a big effect on it.
Retail's the FOMO. I mean, and that's what we saw in 17, 18. Strictly retail.
Jeff, was anybody buying Bitcoin?
It was exciting.
First thing, you went onto Coinbase, you bought Bitcoin, and then you were like, you know what? Bitcoin's too expensive. Let me go into the cheap things.
That's it.
Ripple's right there. XRP was laying right there, and people were just jumping into it.
Oh, it was amazing, and you couldn't go wrong. Back in 17, everything was going up. You'd move your buy some Bitcoin. The next morning, it would be worth more. Then you throw into XRP, and then it would just kind of sit there. Then you buy more. Same thing.
Same analogy that Dave from Barstool uses. Stocks only go up, right? So, basically, that's what was happening in the 17. You could have named anything, and it was going up.
That's right, exactly, and that's a good point on the stock market too. People are always trying to second guess or trying to guess the stock market, and they're trying to use TA. And there's some really astute people in this space that understand the technical analysis and the fundamentals of a company. And that's how they analyze it before they go and they decide they're going to trade a stock. And day traders are a unique breed of person. They can have big ups and they can have really big downs, and they need to average it out, because they diversify their investment in a day trade, and they put a lot into it. But then you have traders in general that also same thing. You're going to have losses, you're going to have gains. If you have a good strategy, your gains are going to outweigh your losses, and you're going to average with a nice increase, but like you were saying early on, the majority of the people in this space, they don't know what they're, most people don't know anything about technical analysis, let alone how to read a fundamental of a company to invest in stock. Now they're trying to apply these same formulas to digital asset. Personally, I don't even know how they do that. I don't know how you can put technical analysis on a digital asset that has no fundamentals behind it other than buys and sells.
And
that's
where's
it.
the data? Where's the data? I can go in and buy Apple stock, right? But I have data where I can read everything that I need to know. What was the revenue? What was this, that, and you don't have that.
Yeah.
So anybody who comes, and you know what, on crypto Twitter, this is not bashing season. This is just me being blunt. There are good traders on crypto Twitter or in our crypto space, but I've never seen a losing chart. All the charts are winners. Yeah. And that gives a false, it gives false, hope to people that think that, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to just take, money out of my 401k and I'm a day trade because it's so easy. Look at him. Crypto, not Gumby, but Pony's doing it. He's doing it well. So here goes me. I'm going to go ahead and go onto Binance or wherever, and I'm going to go ahead and start trading. Damn, I just lost $35,000. So, for me, again, we need to, 97% of day traders fail when they first start. So people need to understand what they're getting themselves into, and that's where education comes in. And I'm headstrong about that, and I get trolled for it too because I'm probably hurting somebody's business. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that this community grows, that we mature, and that when people come in, we embrace them and educate them, and not just not reply to them and we troll them. No, we're all early here. Whether you got in 09 or you got in 17 or today, you're still early to the space, and we should be more like family, educating and helping rather than playing against each other.
Which goes back to the conversation of the maxis, and Chip loves talking about the maxi mentality. What that really means, right, Chip?
Well, I mean, it's, if you think about it, it's they want to have a chart that looks like Bitcoin, right? It's let's look at the chart today. It's if you went to the stock market, you have all these stocks and choices and different industries to choose from. Now, if you're a maxi, you go there's just Bitcoin, because let's face it. I mean, we start getting down to terminology. Words mean things, right? So altcoins, what does that mean? That means that everything that's not Bitcoin, right? Because Bitcoin was first. I get it. You get to kind of put, you get to wear the king hat, if you will, the title. But the whole idea is like an altcoin. Well, you're an altcoin. You're not the real coin. No. And listen, for this space to be great and for Bitcoin to really hit like you do 100,000, 200,000 and get there, it's got to do it collectively. And what you're saying, David, spot on. It's like as a community, it's like we need to reunite. And that's one of the reasons that, even though a large part of our viewing community, they're in the XRP, but they're in other projects too. They're in the VET. They're into a lot of different projects. And we bring project, right? We bring a lot of different projects on here too. And I think that, that's why we called it On the Chain, because we want to talk about blockchain. It's all about being on the chain, being on the same page, educating people, not being hype. I mean, yeah, we could do hype, but I mean, I don't know if it's like our bag, but we want to talk about the fundamentals. When we bring someone on to talk about a project, I want to know about the project. Hey, what are the pros of this, cons of this? Hey, what do you see some of the challenges? Well, I think is a nice segment, nice leeway into our next segment, which is, you're the chief marketing officer for PackCoin. So I wanted to see if maybe you could maybe just a little bit, like a high level sort of an overview.
We have so many projects, and I am the chief marketing officer at Pack Global. I just took the position about 3 to 4 months ago. Really excited to the things that we're creating. I can't talk about them right now. I'll be happy to come back on the next show when it's finally out there. But right now, we're focused on the charity aspect. And I've put it out there. We have Robin, who is fantastic, leading the charge out there, creating, the edible food forest. Summit Blockchain as well as sponsoring that with Pack Global. We have a bunch also. We have Bitcoin Cash that's also on that project, along with myself, my company, G Media. But we're trying to go ahead and do something for charity to feed people, and to, Robin could probably elaborate on this more than I can, but right now we're focused on charity. But the stuff that we do have coming out, it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be game changing. And that's what I was looking for. I've worked on a lot of projects, helped a lot of projects that are doing well now. But this is something that is going to change the game. And I can't wait to tell you when it's actually live. They got me signed to NDAs. I'm sorry. I know that was really boring, but the charity aspect, it's huge with me.
Well, I will say this. Look, if you guys want to see this, there's a really amazing team behind this project. If you guys want to go to packglobal.io, just pacglobal.io, you can kind of talk. We'll put a link down below as well. You can go check that out. But I understand. Look, sometimes you're on to doing some cool stuff, and you're so worried about not saying the right thing, best to not say much at all, because you don't want to make a misstep.
If you guys only knew, we would be so hyped right now. We'd be doing the Macarena and stuff. Like, it's the stuff that's exactly the stuff that we have. We'll do some TikTok videos after this, but the stuff that we have coming out, it truly takes blockchain to the next level, and we can offer it to everybody. It's really game changing. Nobody's done it. Or if somebody's done it, we haven't heard about it. I'll put it that way.
That's great. It's always cool to be on the leading edge of something, especially when you identified something. I love the charity aspect of it anyway. I know you couldn't get into much, but I did see some videos, by the way. If you want to just go look at David's, there's kind of some things you've retweeted and put some stuff on there if you guys want to learn a little bit more. And as it comes out, look, we'll have you back on, talk about some exciting stuff as you guys get into it. But it's always cool to be working on a new project where you're doing something that kind of hasn't been done before, because you know what, almost everything has, and you guys identified something. It's really cool to see something like that, and especially the charitable side of that. So I wanted to talk a little bit. So you're basically located in the city, right, and right down in Manhattan. So what's it been like? I'm just curious how it's been like. I mean, for you being there while this whole thing's been going on.
It's listen, none of us have ever been in that situation. Nobody can say they've been through a pandemic. I've never seen the city so dead. I've never. That's you saw people walking around like zombies. Like everybody was. I think till this day, still, I mean, people are happy right now because we're opening up. You know, people are happy to finally be sitting out, eating. You know, social distancing is still taking place, but like people feel a little bit more alive. You can breathe some air. You're not stuck in your house all day long. You know, just wondering when is this going to end. But it's been hard. People are going to move out of the city. People are moving out of the city. People want space. I mean, you don't have space in New York. If you've ever been to New York City, there is no space. Even on the sidewalk on a busy day, you know, you're getting hit. You better, you know, put on some, you know, linebacker gear and, you know, try to walk through Times Square. You understand all the New Yorkers understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's been tough. But I'm glad that, you know, it's over with for now. And I hope we have no wave two. And I hope we all can focus, even projects, you know, had to stop because of this entire thing. So I hope we can just, you know, go back to some normalcy and get back to, you know, our everyday lives.
Yeah, it's going to be important because I mean, there's such a history of New York, and you know, it's such a vibrant city, you know, and especially the nightlife and the food. I mean, the thing about, I mean, I love going there and eating there. I was there a couple years ago. I was there. I was actually staying as it was one of these trade show things, tech things, shows, and I was staying at the Marriott there, right in Times Square, and I was further uptown, and they said, hey, the mayor says, oh, the snowstorm hit, the streets were closed, we're turning the taxis off at 11, we're all drinking, having fun. We're like, yeah, whatever, we'll get an Uber, we'll do whatever. Well, guess what? The streets were closed, there was nothing down there, and it was so weird to be walking down 6th Avenue, down in the middle of the street, there's not a car, there's no people. You know, all the places were still open, but, you know, it's like if people don't know New York, you know, when you have to walk back 14 blocks, that's a pretty long walk.
No, those are not 14. That's not a 14. See, people misunderstand. That's not 14 blocks. You just went and tripled your walk. That's like, you know, if to be conservative, that's like 24 blocks.
It's incredible, and it's cold, and then you dive in the next little pub or bar that's open, and everyone's trying to grab a little drink, a hot chocolate. But that was one of those cool things that I love because I'm taking pictures in the middle of the street. There's nobody, man. It just closed down, and that's not what we're used to seeing in New York or any big city. That it's just shut down.
That's a great experience. You know, when you see all aspects of it, you know, it is crazy, you know, with what, you know, we've all gone through, and you see the comparisons, you know. So if we look at what, you know, how it is in South Florida, you know, versus, you know, what you guys are going through, and, you know, I have a nice opportunity to speak to people all over the country, you know, on a regular basis, and getting feedback from people, and it's just it's been eye-opening. You know, to see how it's impacted people's businesses, you know, what's happening like within the hospitals and, you know, in the medical space, and, you know, and then, you know, seeing, you know, are people actually going into work, you know, and things still had to progress and keep moving forward. You know, the one amazing thing about, you know, about Americans, you know, is that we always find a way to overcome, you know, and that's like, you know, the number one. And I think, you know, a lot of people around the world, they're looking at us saying, you guys are crazy. You know why? You know, look at your numbers keep going up. You know, other places they clamp down and they just crush, you know, people's humanity, you know, for periods of time, you know, but we don't, you know, it's just interesting, you know, because we can't take that for long periods of time, you know, and I think, right.
It's built. We're not that, Americans are not the type to go ahead and just falter. We're going to go. We're gonna get out there, and we're gonna win. That's what, you know. That's what we're about. I mean, I think I speak for all Americans when I say that we're about winning. So we're gonna get out there, and if it happens, it happens. But unfortunately, we're not gonna stay home. That's not our mentality, and it shouldn't be our mentality. I mean, we can't listen. I have my own thoughts about it, but we can't stay home. That's it. You know, that's me personally. You can stay home if you're scared, but you know, there's life. You get one life to live, and you need to live it. You can't, you know, just be boxed in and, you know, wait until this is over. It can be over in 30 years, 40 years. By the time they find a vaccine or a cure or whatever, you know, go out, have some fun, enjoy yourselves. You know,
Floridians. You know, look, Florida. Let's be honest. If you were to turn it on TV like 6 months ago, and there's somebody's being chased down a highway, you don't even have to look at where it is. You got two guesses. You go California or Florida, right? Because that's where all the nutters go. And apparently criminals like nice weather too. So they all repopulate here with also half of New York. That's why we became a bigger state than New York, because the New Yorkers made it possible. They came down to South Florida. But when you think, yeah, everybody's here, and you think about Florida, and what I love about Florida is that you meet so many. It is a pretty diverse area. I mean, especially in South Florida here, you see everybody. Everyone's here from all over the place. They come together in community, and I just look at how easy it was. It's like, hey, everyone should stay home. Okay, it's like that was easy. It's like well, that didn't take a lot of stuff. It's like, okay, everybody should not go outside unless you're protesting. Okay. It's like everyone was like, okay, but I'm like, at some point, David, you're right, man. It's like, you know what? That fight inside of you says, hey, man, I'm done. It turns out I don't like living, under someone's thumb. Turns out I don't like living being pushed down and my face smashed into the ground. I get up. I want to do things in a nice way, kind of respect some stuff. But I'm tired of this, man. It's like, get out there.
If you're going to tell me, David, stay home for the next 4 months. After 4 months, this is all going to be gone. And by you staying home, it's going to help. I'm staying home. Because if you're telling me that that's going to help, push COVID away, I'm okay with it. When you have Fauci come on and say 4 months, we might have to go longer. No. Right. No.
Well, not only that, David, but the guy that was the people responsible for doing the projections, they kind of came out later like, we don't really know if it made a difference staying home. We just don't even know. We don't. But what do you mean you don't know, man? Like you shut down the economy.
A lot of people, we already as a country, or I should say as a society, already suffer with mental illness, which isn't taken seriously.
Right.
Now, imagine how many people will have some sort of mental illness or issues coming out of COVID, because you're talking about being isolated for 3 months. A lot of people have never been isolated. Social anxiety hits. A lot of things hit, and I'm more worried about that aftermath. Where are we going to stand there? Who benefits from that? Hopefully you have a good doctor that's willing to go ahead and do some rehab with you and not just stick you on some pills. So my thing is I really do care. Honestly, all BS aside, I hope that everybody makes it out and everybody's good mentally, physically, that we can get back on it. But if you're going to tell us 3 months, then it's 3 months. Don't push it. And, we can't go out to dinner with 10 friends, but, we can protest, which God bless everybody who wants to protest. I totally understand, God-given right. I respect it, but you can protest, but you can't go out with your friends. I mean, it's kind of
it's a lot of hypocrisy. Yeah, that's where you see there's an underlying political agenda or a motive behind this, and that's where it gets dangerous. And that they're manipulating the system, and to that exact point, because this all disappeared for a couple weeks. And then all of a sudden now it's coming back again. Oh no, you got to wear your mask now. Okay. But there wasn't a major, influx, either from what was going on, with the protests. You don't see this major outbreak, that they're focused on. But I think that a lot of it also it's, like you brought up, it is there's a mental impact on it, and you're trying to, and who benefits from it, when you push the people down, mentally. It's going to come back out, it's going to respond in a certain way. And I think to an extent we're seeing that, the emotions that are, pent up as well. We're all emotional. We are all emotional. Listen, humans are emotional beings as it is. We're all emotional right now. We've been stuck in a house. Everybody's been stuck in their house for so long. I'm going to stay off of that, but, just because politics and religion are the worst things to talk about, but I just really want to go back to where we were pre-COVID, and hopefully things get better for everybody. And I believe we're going to get there. There's going to still some elements on top, that are trying to tell us that it's not going to be the same. I don't believe that at all. Unless we allow it to be that way. It might change air travel. What's that?
The Spanish flu. I mean, it had, one wave, 2 waves, and then,
That's it. Then it was dead.
Can we if there's one thing, one pandemic or epidemic in that case to look at, I mean, let's look at, the Spanish flu, and let's hope that that's how we get out of this. And
yeah, we're already seeing it go down, right? We're seeing it less. It's less impactful. It's not like it was in the beginning. People are getting it, but they're not ending up in the hospitals. The hospitals aren't overflowing all over the country.
Yeah.
The numbers are huge worldwide, and we're not reporting on the full global, impact in terms of how many people have actually tested positive. And they're twisting the logic between cases infected versus just, testing positive. Just because you test positive, you don't call it a case or, affected or infect or whatever. They want to twist it to make it sound scarier.
Or if you die in a car accident, but you had COVID, you shouldn't become a stat in the COVID sheet. So, how about putting, I talked about this earlier today on a podcast. How about putting blockchain into effect? Though we're not ready for it, but imagine if we were ready to have blockchain. Obviously there's HIPAA, rules, to in play, so it's hard. But you imagine if we could have had the right data. We show 350, but what if it was really 250? At the end of the day, blockchain could have been huge right now to go ahead and show and demonstrate, the technology that it brings to the forefront. I was yapping about that a lot when, during the height of COVID. I wish that blockchain somehow could have helped, give us better data.
It could have, and it should have, and it's amazing because I was working on a similar project to account for specific data. We didn't get it all the way together, but it's amazing because in this scenario, this is the ultimate research project. When you can have data come from all over the world and plug it into a database that you can then allow everybody to learn from and extrapolate, more information from, it would be ideal. From a HIPAA compliance, it's easy. You just don't put patient data in there.
Correct.
You just upload, how many tests, positives, outcomes, what are some of the side effects that people had? What are the regions that they're in? Keep the people out of it. It could have been amazing.
Jeff,
really
think about it. I'd rather a blockchain. Give me Stellar. Give me whoever. Name me a blockchain. Give me them. VinChain. Whoever it is, right? Give me somebody to go ahead and do that instead of having Apple and Google have my information. Because I don't want Apple and Google to have my information because I know exactly what they're going to do with my information.
Yeah,
I want transparency. So where do I come for transparency? For decentralization, I come to blockchain. And some people are scared of that. But you know what? It builds trust. We need trust, right? What better way to trust somebody than a blockchain or a decentralized system that lets me see everything?
Yeah. And Apple and Google, they partnered up and they put out that tracing app. And they were shocked when they said, "Oh, we only had 9 or 10% adoption." Well, I'm shocked it's that high because it's like, hey, we put out an official app where not only, remember, I know we testified recently in front of Congress and said we weren't collecting your data, but let's just pretend because now it's a special time and here's a cool app you can download either on your iOS or Android, and we can really track you and you can opt in. It'll be great. It's like when you look at all this stuff. But, David, take it even further. It's like, okay, so charity. It's like a lot of times, you had that episode that happened in Haiti. And it's like, so all that money that was raised and celebrities and Yaha. And meanwhile, they all went down to the dog and pony show, raised all the money, and the Haitians suffered horribly because none of that money ever made it there. It's like you put that on blockchain, you start putting voting on blockchain, you start putting elections, this kind of stuff, where you can really track it, and you can go back at some point and say, I guess that politicians, how about the money for these projects, and how about these they go in there and they put all this pork in these bills. How about when they do get some pork in those bills? How do we track that? Blockchain.
I mean, it's why do people have a hard time donating to things? I'm sure, what? I know people. There is no way in hell people are watching that dog commercial where Sarah McLachlan, I think that's her name, is singing.
The dogs.
Yeah, and you're like, I'm literally sitting there, and I have ice. I'm talking about I will not cry for anything, but I start getting emotional. I'm like, man, I want to donate. And but like a lot of people are like myself, so you want to donate, but you don't know where the money's really going to, right? But if you have it on a blockchain and you have a ledger, everything's transparent, you know where it went, you feel more comfortable. And
Agreed.
that's and you'll be able to see that on Pack Global. You'll be able to see exactly where donations went. So
That's
you
huge.
keep it transparent. And that's we don't have that in this space for charity. We just don't have it. And that's why I'm really excited, because I'm into charity. When COVID was up, in terms of numbers, I was doing everything possible night and day to go ahead and get PPE out to hospitals that needed it. I was trying to contact everybody. I was working with the Manny Pacquiao Foundation, Binance Charities as well. The Binance Charities did a lot during that time. So, it wasn't just for show either. Like, these people really did it because it meant something to them. So I appreciated that. But at the end of the day, we do need blockchain for that. And, blockchain would make a huge difference for that. And we'll see. With PAC, hopefully we can show that it makes a difference, that everybody can see where things go to. People are scared to donate to the American Cancer Society because they, again, don't know where the money's going to. All they know is that they've seen on CNBC that the CEO, just made $21 million for the year. But what's up with the cancer, and where do we get with the advancements?
That's you've got the American Cancer Association, Red Cross, the list goes on. And you look at the commercials they make, that those cost a ton. The spot that they pick up costs a ton. But that's to get the word out. If you have to spend X to get a little more, you're going to do that. But then you look at the leadership. How much are the CEOs making? Do you need a good CEO to run a massive organization? You do. You need somebody. But are you going to, are you paying them $10 million, $20 million when all that money could have been used, towards your project? Do you really need to pay somebody that kind of cash? Isn't there someone out there that's more, that's as qualified, for a significant less, amount, and how can you balance it out? But, what you're talking about is amazing, in the blockchain space, to bring charity there. The other part that people don't really anticipate or even think about is that most people that are making phone calls for charities, a lot of time they hire professional organizations that do the fundraising, and those guys are keeping whatever, 20, 30, 50, 70 cents on the dollar. And then the rest goes to the charity. So you might have only 20% going to the charity.
How horrible is that? Like, think about it. How you're calling. Listen, everybody should be paid for a job that they do. But if you're volunteering, I don't understand. If you're going to volunteer to do something, how do you get paid? It doesn't make sense. So you just saying that, like, oh, I'm going to get 70% of the sale that I get and 30 goes to charity. That makes no sense. Like, it really doesn't. And then, listen, I don't begrudge a guy making $19 million a year. God bless you. I just, is somebody really worth $19 million to go ahead and run a charity? I don't think so.
It takes away from the charity aspect of the charity.
It's more, to me, it's like, it's a business. It becomes a business. And that's why, I look and I try to seek out real, listen, God bless. Staff should be paid, but not at almost, Jesus. That's all.
Yeah, well, for example, I reached out to the Michael J. Fox Foundation. That's Parkinson's. My mom has Parkinson's. I see how debilitating it's been for her. I wanted to kind of chair this charity in the XRP space. A lot of other people were doing it. Some really good prominent people out there were going ahead and raising money. And I said, look, if I put this charity together, I went through their management chain. It was so frustrating for me. They go like, I'm sorry, you got to click a button. I'm like, I understand, but let's think outside the box, because, a lot of people, there's people in a space who have this digital asset, and they go, and it went back and forth for so many emails. And I even reached out to Michael J. Fox, even though I probably couldn't get a hold of him. But I'd love somebody to reach out that knows him, or someone in this audience, because I still want to do something great. Now, what I love about his charity, almost 97% of it goes to research. They don't mess around. They don't take a lot of money off the top, and they show you exactly transparency of what they do. It's one of the best foundations, doing research in the Parkinson space. But I'm like, how shallow is your thinking? And they say, oh, well, just have your friends, or you can click a link. I said, I understand, but we're trying to do this in the digital asset space. You just have to, and at the time I was
Correct.
trying to get them to set up an XRP tip bot. Right now it's even easier to do. You set something up on Uphold, and
Yeah.
there's been other people out there that have done this successfully, with raising money for other charities. And I'm like, no, we don't do that. I'm like, okay, can you reach out to, some other people on the staff? No, we're not doing it. And I just think, okay, so there's going to be a different area. Suppose, for example, and say, well, do you accept Bitcoin? Well, no, we don't accept Bitcoin. Well, can you? Because there's a lot of people in the Bitcoin community that really embrace charity and would like to use the digital asset of Bitcoin. Oh, no, we don't do that. Okay, I get it. I'm trying to tell you why you might want to do that. And no matter what I said, they just said, well, maybe now's the time or whatever. And it was very frustrating. So if anyone can get a message to Michael J. Fox, tell him I'd love to help the foundation out and get people in this space doing it. And unfortunately, maybe that person who's like this, I mean, it was about 9 months ago, but still, look, I mean, there's
Maybe
going to
we
be
go ahead and send out a tweet. We'll all, everybody comes together, and that's the beautiful part about this space. We all come together, send out a tweet, and we just push it.
All right, I
Because
love that.
that's
I'll
really
put the tweet out. We'll look for your support. Everyone push it in this community, because let's do something good, and especially a foundation that does research, and the majority of it, not like 3% goes to the charity, almost 90-some%, and they break it down on their website. I don't remember the exact numbers, which is why I'm not quoting it. But I love that. And it's like, hey, let's push it out there. Let's see if we can get that, his attention. Looks, I DM'd Michael J. Fox, and so did 4 billion other people. So I'm sure he never saw it. So it's not really up to him. But there's a lot of good happening, and I love this whole idea, this take on, the Pack Global, the charity side of it, because it's important, man. We realize that when these terrible traumas happen, forget about governments, people all around the world have hearts. They care
Correct.
about other people. They don't care about race or creed. Something happens to their neighbor, they're there to help them, right? They're neighborly. And whether it's the person that lives next to you or the person across the street or someone in another country, it's like, this is where I feel humanity has been saved, because I saw so much great stuff happening.
Yeah.
If you watch the news media, you're not going to see that cool stuff. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the what's the guy from The Office, the guy that used to play Jim. He put
was
out
doing his own little thing on TikTok.
some good news, right? So he was doing that whole thing, and I was like, you know what? And he blew up to 3-4 million subs all because he said, hey, I want to get good news out there. Forget about your agendas and political slants. Let's just show good stuff. And it's like, I was learning there's a lot of cool stuff happening, and kids doing stuff for their elderly neighbors and bringing them food. And this is who we are as a human race. I like to think more in lines of that stuff than all the, my gosh, the stuff you hear on the media.
Listen, honestly, I don't watch mainstream news. I mean, for me,
I don't either, but
I go straight on to somebody, somebody posted something on their, video camera and uploads it. That's real news. When you see a kid, like you said, walking around and giving food to the elderly, like that's real news. Like, nobody wants to hear positive stuff. Everybody's looking for, mainstream media. They're looking to go ahead and promote negative stuff. Listen, honestly, when we got locked up here, everything got shut down. There was nothing to watch, no sports, no nothing. So you turn on the news, and literally the anxiety that you would feel watching the news, it was just horrific. And so one day you just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm turning it off. I'm expecting aliens to come in July anyway. So and you know what's funny? They did announce that, UFOs do this now.
Nobody cared.
Blinked an eye.
Nobody cared.
Wasn't that crazy? How crazy is that?
Not an eye was blank. Nobody cared, right? Like, I'm telling you right now,
Hold my
if
beer.
Godzilla walked by my house right now, I wouldn't even flinch. 2020 has been after Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul, passed away. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah, it was
All
a
I
mess.
see is, if I see a Tyrannosaurus Rex walk by my house right now,
You'd be like, oh,
I'm
that's
not
like,
even flinching.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
You might be lost.
Yeah,
you know?
that lizard again. What's going on?
It's just cloudy today. It's kind of like I don't care.
Yeah, it's like it's that whole UFO thing was funny, and it's like I don't know if you saw that chart of what's coming up. It's like
Yeah.
aliens land, that meme where it's the second wave, sun, a massive ERP strike, and all this kind of craziness, Hey,
2020 has been a hell of a year, I gotta tell you.
yeah.
Hell
Well,
of a year.
220. Listen, I wanted so a little bit. So let's get into some things here. Like, what do you see happening? Where do you see us going in the blockchain space? Let's say, next 3 to 5 years. I mean, as a whole, like, do you see some projects that you had in mind you think might have a shot at, really making it, or rising up and doing stuff?
So can we all agree that Bitcoin is just a COV? It's just a store of value. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that. Because if you go to tell me that Bitcoin, is going to hit $100,000 per coin, there's no reason for me to sell it. I'm just saying in general. I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to sell it. I have no reason to. I'm going to hold it until I can go ahead
It's a
and
hold, man. Yeah, it's a hold.
It's a definite buy hold. That's it. That's its true use case at this
So
point.
anybody who says, "Oh, but we need to use Bitcoin," no, like to the regular person, like, no, why would I use it? You just told me it's going to be $100,000 per coin. I'm not using it. I got a guy over there. Experts. First of all, there's no experts in this space yet, but the experts are saying that it's going to be $1 million per coin. Okay, why am I selling it? I'm not selling nothing. This is like buying a condo at 9,000 and seeing it raise to 100,000. I'm good on that. I should use a different analogy. Buying one for $50,000 and it going to 600,000. I'm not selling it. For every real use case has a place in this space. I don't believe in the shitcoin terminology. I think we need to get rid of that. We need to mature as a space. I get the anonymous, to be anonymous. I get that, but I don't use cryptocurrencies anymore when I speak. I say digital asset because cryptocurrency comes off as people think it has this taboo effect. People feel like it's illegal. So I stick to digital assets. I think
Sounds better.
It does. I mean, it's a mature way of saying it. I think XRP will be around. I Stellar, Cardano, the real projects with real partnerships will be around here. VinChain, which is partnered up with BMW, one of my favorite car makes. Real use cases will stick around. Things you'll know a ship project when you see it. I mean, that's the best way to put it. The ones that are being hyped up and shilled and shilled and shilled, repetitively for the new, retail buyer who comes into the space to have, additional bags added on to him. But in 3 to 5 years, listen, I can only go back to the Mark Zuckerberg meeting with Congress. They still didn't understand the internet. No. So I don't know. That's right. All I can say is for us tech, like you guys are real technical. You guys are real techies. I'm a tech guy. I just, like I said earlier, I don't know C++. I don't know how to design a C++ and all that stuff. I know what it is, but I don't know how to actually use it. But at the end of the day, I just see us, this will be a space where people will really take it seriously. You'll have a lot of institutional money in here. Whether if it's already in here now, but in a year's time from now, I mean, come on, IBM's in this space. Everybody's here. I mean, everybody's working to go ahead and, cash in, I'll say. Everybody's going to, you have to adapt. If you don't adapt to this space, you're going to be out. That's plain and simple, especially for transactions. I mean,
well, speaking of on the back of transactions there, like what you said, if Bitcoin is a store of value, why do we want it to be a payment rail? Right? It's not fast enough. I mean, it's old tech. It's like can you imagine walking into a store and it's like, hey, I want to buy a car, and you got this really heavy bag and you're like fumbling with gold bars and you're like, yeah, I mean, you're not going to do that, right? It doesn't make any sense to do that.
But people are going to tell you that the Lightning Network and this and that. But again, it all comes down to if Bitcoin is supposed to be at a certain price, then that's like my savings account. Like that's something like I'm going to put that away. And I'm going to wait for it to hit 100, and then I'm going to take out some. I mean, it makes no sense. If I want to use something for payments, I'm going to use XRP. I'll use Dash. I'll use whatever else is out there, Litecoin. I can name so many.
Right.
I'll use the top 10. Whatever's on top, Digibyte, God bless them. They went ahead and finally came together with Binance, and now they're on Binance. Good for them. But, I'll use real projects. Real and fast payment system. I mean, ADA or XLM, those cryptocurrencies, forget about it. Payment sent in literally a second. I mean, or you can go ahead and use Bitcoin and wait in line for the next 25 minutes while the payment gets processed. I mean, it's really up to you. I mean, I get it. Look, the maximists will never go ahead and admit that something else is better. It's all about Bitcoin, but we already know that. That's the crazy part about it is you're trying to, push it to us that it's all about Bitcoin. We know that. You don't have to market Bitcoin. It's out there.
Right.
When people say, cryptocurrency, right away it's Bitcoin. Nobody talks about anything else. We get it, but things get better. It's kind of like saying that, we should all still use Commodore 64s. No, we've advanced. We've advanced to now having Dell products. And we have Apple with the Mac Pros. I mean, like we're advancing, and that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. I'm sure maybe we can go ahead and take Bitcoin to the next level, but it's not that. It's digital gold. Leave it as that. It's digital gold. Let's appreciate it for what it is, digital gold. And now let's find out silver. That's really it. Find your silver and use it.
And that's every token, every coin, it's going to have its own use case, and being able to identify what that use case is awesome. So to attribute Bitcoin as the store of value, like you said, if people are saying it's going to be $1 million, why would I want to even think about using it for anything else? I don't want to transact it anymore. Back we were talking about early on in 2017, you'd use Bitcoin to go buy something else, but
buy
it was
Lambos.
nice. Yeah,
Popping bottles.
You could buy Lambos. They did all sorts of stuff, but these are guys that got in way before. But at the same point, now you're getting into this long-term hold investment cycle. But there's a lot of these digital assets now. Why would you want to sell any of them?
Listen,
I mean, or
tell you the guys who came in early and had Bitcoin early, they're and then the run happened. They're the smartest people on the planet now.
Mm-hmm.
No, you accidentally got in and it happened. God bless you. It's not, and nobody's envious of that. God bless you, but you're learning just like the rest of entire community. The people put you on a pedestal. At the end of the day, I wouldn't be where I am without the people. For whatever reason, they decided to follow me. I'm sorry, guys. And, I'm a loudmouth. I cuss, I rant, but I tell it how it is, and I try to just dumb it down and keep it simple, stupid, as I was taught. I come from the automotive industry. I've been a finance director for my entire life. I've dealt with finances, but I've also dealt with marketing, and at the end of the day, everybody has a place here. Treat everybody with respect. Don't act like you're higher than somebody else. I hate to be repetitive, but you just got in to Bitcoin at the right time. God bless you. But now start teaching people. If you have that following, teaching them about the space, educate them. Don't just troll them or don't answer them. People that follow you, if you have 200,000 followers, answer some of them back. Do an AMA, do something. So we can go ahead in the next 3 to 5 years. You asked me that question. Well, it's going to be up to us in the next 3 to 5 years, because I think that people, if they're smart enough, they're going to come into this space, volunteer into a project, okay, learn about the space, learn about blockchain, learn about digital assets, and find a job in this space, because this is where it's going to be. Go work for Binance, just volunteer. Go work for whatever other exchange, go work for a project, go work for Cardano. Just volunteer your time and then build your resume and go into something in the blockchain, digital asset space and make a career out of it. This is a new space for everybody. That's why I keep on saying it. We are early. It's not too late for anybody. Stop looking at the price.
There you go. That's the best thing you said. Stop looking at the price. If you think it's going to move by tomorrow, look, it's a 3 to 5 hold, a 10-year hold. Don't worry, it's going to go up. Just relax yourself a little bit. Not financial advice.
Panicked. I don't want to miss out. I'm going to jump in and then stop. Do your research, fundamental analysis. You don't know anything about day trading. Stop pretending. It's not cool to lose $35,000. Stop. People lose.
Well, I agree. It's not cool to listen to a cartoon bear either, which happened to me. The little cartoon bear BG123 said, "Hey, this is gonna moon and like whatever, and it's like. Then we had the Riddlers. That's what I like about the XRP space. There's so many nutters in it, but in a good way. There's so many. Well, there's good and bad. I mean, like you said, the whole crypto Twitter space has its good and bad. There's fun people everywhere.
Listen, 90% of crypto Twitter is really cool.
Yeah, it really is.
That ruined the experience for everybody.
And right, they show up in your feed. They show up in your feed. I
love it. But listen, it's my feed, and I get to block and mute whoever I want. So if you're not gonna bring positive energy, I'm not really dealing with you. And that's my approach. I know some people say I don't block, but you know what? I just don't want to deal with it. I want to come on and talk to people and try to educate people about, let's say, XRP and why XRP is good. Why others like Casino Coin, are building use cases under XRP or Ripple software to go ahead and, let's say, connect with the whole gambling industry. I mean, again, education is key.
Yeah, and you put a tweet out a couple hours ago that said, "Hey, if you ain't positive, we can't be friends." That's simple. I like to think that we can stay fast friends, the three of us, and have you back again once this project becomes real and you can start talking about some more things like these new exciting things you have coming out. I think that would be fun to get into, and we really enjoyed having you on the chain, man. It's been great, actually having you on here. And
I appreciate, number one, you got my last name right. I can't even get it right, so thank you so much for having me on the chain. I appreciate Jeff signing the back because I'm big time on that. Okay, and anytime if I'm welcome back, I'll be more than happy to come back and talk about the project and and where G Media will stand at that point as well, along with Pat Global.
That's awesome. Great. Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, all right. So stick around for 1 second. We're going to take us out of here. I want to just thank everybody. You can go to onthechain.io, and down in the description, you're going to see links to all the projects that David's working on, and you're going to get to go look at the websites and some of the other cool things down there. But go ahead and follow him on Twitter. He's real positive energy, tells it like it is. One of the reasons we were excited to have him on the show. And David, I don't know if you have any last parting words, more parting words. You got anything else to say before we close it out?
God bless everybody. That really, honestly, God bless everybody. Guys, just be positive, educate people. Whether you have 5 followers or 100,000 followers, educate. Just go out there, even if you have to go into the bingo rec rooms. Just go educate somebody. There's plenty of people that want to come into this space. Just be an educator.
Bingo! Yeah, there you go.
Just be Just be let's get blockchain into bingo. That'll be amazing.
That needs to be on the blockchain. That's a whole other discussion.
Blockchain bingo.
If you guys do it without me.
Bingo!
Running that bingo.
I got a bingo. Okay, bingo. Jeff, take us out.
We're out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.